Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Cole. It's Sunday, October 12th, and this will be the Week 9 announcement for Political Science 3753 Constitutional Law for the fall 2025 term. All right, everybody, it's Sunday. Tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday, we are doing our fourth discussion. We had our fourth quiz last week, so we'll do this discussion, and then we'll have 3 quizzes and 3 discussions left through the end of the term. This one deals with, well, we had looked at some material last week about some commentary that had appeared at the time of the Dobbs decision, or at the time of the oral argument in late 2021. Now we're looking at some material from the following year after the decision came down, some material that describes some awkward issues that have arisen since the Roe v. Wade decision was overturned in Dobbs in 2022. So look at those pieces and see what your views might be about what ought to be done about that. When state laws differ, can one state reach across state lines to possibly prosecute someone who had left the state to avoid that state's abortion laws? And then there are a number of other issues that come up, such as the transport or mailing of abortion medication across state lines. A number of knotty problems arise. Now, on the syllabus for this week, we have the class notes for lectures 14 and 15, and these are some very central concepts for those of you working in law enforcement: due process and the rights of the accused. So this is something you want to take a look at closely. And later in the week, I'm going to be rolling out a discussion for next week. That will be discussion 5, I believe. So we'll have discussion 5 and quiz 5 coming up fairly quickly. But such issues as the right of habeas corpus, the writ, okay, the role of the grand jury, a series of cases that were decided from the 60s to the 90s dealing with discrimination in jury selection, racial discrimination, such issues as double jeopardy and the right to confront hostile witnesses, which becomes problematical when you have a child witness in a case of child sexual abuse. And you'll read a little bit about some of the cases that have been decided with regard to that issue. Moving to lecture 16, okay, the privilege, the issue of the privilege against self-incrimination. Assistance of counsel, the case that goes all the way back to the 1960s when an indigent defendant, Clarence Gideon, filed to insist that he had the right to have an attorney appointed for him in a criminal case, not just a capital case, and that was decided in Gideon's favor in the case of Gideon v. Wainwright, 1963. Then there is the decision that I know everyone in law enforcement is familiar with, Miranda versus Arizona, 1966. The requirement that those in custody be informed of their rights. Okay, controversial for law enforcement, I know. It's worth noting any number of exceptions to the Miranda requirement have been handed down, and the original 1966 decision has been eroded somewhat. So you'll be looking at that in those class notes for lecture 16. Capital punishment and the implications of the 8th Amendment for capital punishment. You'll be reading about the 2 cases that were decided in the 1970s, Furman v. Georgia and then Gregg v. Georgia, in which the Supreme Court largely reversed itself in that space of time, finally deciding that capital punishment could go forward under certain restrictions. And certain restrictions were placed on it, namely the verdict and the sentencing have to be separate procedures. So these are all central issues to law enforcement, so I know you'll be wanting to look closely at this, and we're going to be rolling out a discussion later in the week after we finish discussion 4. We'll be looking at some material that I hope will be of interest to you, those of you who will be going into a law enforcement career going forward. All right, so discussion on the 13th and 14th now, Monday and Tuesday. Many of you will be looking at this either Sunday or Monday, so we'll do that discussion over 48 hours. And then we'll be rolling another discussion out for next week to do with these due process and criminal procedure issues. So I hope that all will be of interest and helpful to you. Once again, contact me with any questions, problems, or issues from the inbox at the left of the course homepage or through your OPSU email, david.cole@opsu.edu. So we'll talk to you again in about a week's time.